this. And he goes, okay, no problem. And so he goes into the haunted house. Now, granted, he knows people in high school who are in there.
And this is like a high school gymnasium level.
High school gymnasium level.
Yeah.
Yes. And so he goes through there, and I'm like, okay, we'll just see how this goes.
You're waiting for him at the other end because you're not going through it.
Yep. Yeah. And so he comes out, and he is like white as a ghost.
Appropriately enough.
There are two girls who are like walking with him, half giggling, half like, hey, I think you need to make sure he's okay.
Welcome to the Empowering Choices Podcast. My name is Joshua.
I am Lucas.
And I'm Erik.
And today we are putting the fun in Halloween.
I think putting the we in Halloween.
The we
in
Halloween.
Good weevening. Is that what you just said?
Evening.
I don't even know what
What?
know what that is.
Come on, it's a Count Dracula voice.
Make Halloween fun again.
We're making Halloween fun again, just right here.
Did Halloween stop being fun?
Not for me.
Oh, okay.
But nothing stopped being fun for me. We've talked so much, about parenting and
right. One might wonder why we're talking about Halloween on a parenting podcast.
Right. I mean, we don't talk enough about how fun parenting can be. That as dads, as moms, you can have a blast being a parent. And our culture has a variety of holidays, and those holidays can present themselves as being all kinds of different opportunities to have fun. Some people don't believe in Halloween as a celebrated holiday, and they have alternate things that they can do, right down to if they just don't believe in that as a holiday. But since your culture is doing different things, you could still make it a fun night for yourself in other ways.
Yeah, we're not here to extol the virtues of Halloween per se. It just happens to be a seasonal thing that we're going to capitalize on.
And, since I have had many fun Halloweens in my life, I kind of thought, well, when I was in the store the other day and I just was up there to purchase everything in my cart, and I looked over and there was a magazine, and I saw the magazine and I went, oh my gosh, that is everything I wanted my dad to do with me in pumpkin carving that he would never do.
Because he had the ability. Did we mention this story before? In any case, he had all the tools and stuff. Because you'd need like a wood carving bit maybe. Or a drill,
or just a chisel.
Chisel. That's the thing that I was. Wood carving chisel.
There's all kinds of just woodworking tools and things.
Josh, slide me that other copy.
This.
Yeah. And we don't know who published this. It looks like it's Centennial Specials. It's not like it's a Time Magazine special edition. It's probably like you find this in Walmart or something.
Walmart, Target, Fred Meyer. I got two of them. One in Walmart.
We'd like to cite our sources as well as we can, but we're actually unsure a little bit who this came from.
There's got lots of fun stuff in it. We were flipping through
so much fun
yesterday,
stuff.
And the little mummified hot dogs.
Oh, the mummified hot dogs. Yeah, right.
Yeah, those.
Of course, we're not going to talk about food at the moment, right?
True,
we're kind of getting a little off track. Future, in the future.
We're like 45 seconds in, and you're getting off track already?
Not me.
I see pumpkins.
You thought I would get off track, but it's the one who's supposed to keep us on track.
I see pumpkins.
See, now he has that pumpkin. This is my favorite pumpkin that they have in there. He has like patches.
Nice.
Right.
The
amount of art that you can make with pumpkins is really quite flabbergasting. And the cool part about that idea is like mixing and like I bought 3 pumpkins, but I made one sculpture.
Yeah.
Because
Well, and what's really nice about this magazine is that it's telling you in the page next to it all about how they did this.
Yeah. Well, it's like use this drill bit and get this cord and run these
so
stitches.
It's giving you the ideas.
Yeah. And I never want to buy like a green or weird colored pumpkin until I saw that. Then I'm like, well, now there's a reason.
Well, and the name of it is the Frankenstein pumpkin.
So you don't want to Frankenstein like a bunch of orange pumpkins together. That's why you need the hodgepodge.
Oh, yeah,
of
you
colors.
need the green and the yellow.
And they have gourds. I mean, what do you do with a gourd? You just put it on the table. That's what my mom would do. But now they're like ghost gourds.
Drill some holes in there.
And there's a little green there.
Is your house going to be much more thoroughly decorated for Halloween this year, Erik?
Probably not.
So here we are espousing all of these ideas, and they're like, no, I'm not going to use them.
Well, it's not necessarily that I'm not going to use them. I mean, maybe it will be, but sometimes I become the only one doing it, which is not bad, but it just, sometimes I don't have people who get as enthused as I do on some things.
Your adult son is not as into pumpkin carving as
well.
you
I'm
were
going
as a
to
kid?
show him this magazine. We're going to see.
Yeah.
Okay, you're going to find out.
He has loved to do the traditional pumpkin carving. We just haven't done it in a little while.
Wasn't that your description of growing up? It was like, oh yeah, we'll do something fun, and your dad was on the traditional triangular eyes and triangular nose and one shape of mouth.
Yes. I'm like, hey, let's do something different. He goes, yeah, we'll do something different. Okay, well, let's draw something. And so he would draw the traditional and go, okay, it's different.
It's different.
How's that different?
Yeah.
It's not different.
That's great. The thing I always saw when I was a kid that I like begged my parents to do, but I mean, I guess you can only do so much when your ceiling isn't that high. But I would go to like stores.
Wait, what?
Okay, so I would go to stores, and I don't know if you guys remember this, but sometimes they would take like fishing line and run it to a door, and then put like a little hook, and then put a ghost, and then when you would open the door,
and it would
cause it to go up and down. So I always wanted to do that like in our living room.
Oh, just like for the front door?
Yeah, I just thought that would be so cool.
So that when the front door opens, you'd have to figure out, well, so if the front door opens, the ghost would fall.
Yeah.
Because the line would be going, well, assuming your door opens in.
Yeah.
But
when I was a kid, when was it? Maybe I was in high school. But the Roseanne show was on.
Roseanne Barr.
Roseanne Barr, and it was at the height.
Yeah.
My favorite ones ever were the ones of her show every year that revolved around Halloween. They would make their entire house decked out into a haunted house type thing. And I was like, see, this is what I want to do. And my dad would go, yep, that's nice. Let's keep watching. You know, I'm like, the closest I ever got was the front porch, and he let me do that. But
see also our episode on making a graveyard in your basement.
Yeah, he did give me permission to do a haunted house in the basement, to which we talk about. Maybe that had something to do with not being able to
never
do it the
again
rest of the time. Yeah, I suppose that could be true.
The flames and the smoke maybe put him off.
Come on, a flaming graveyard is cool.
Wow.
So the idea of this podcast is to get you excited about doing things with your kid.
Yeah.
Yep. Whether it's Halloween
fundamentally, right. Because as we're recording and releasing this, it's like fall and the weather's like turning cooler. And I mean, like, I don't know if pumpkin spice is something you can do with your kid, but that's certainly going to be in all the advertisements for the next 3 months.
Well, I mean, there's pumpkin spice, lots of stuff.
Well, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
I just don't know if it applies exactly to what we're talking about. But it's like, it's seasonal.
Right.
How can we apply that to, you've got a kid, And I think the other part of this would be like, do fun things with your kid, but then also the idea of create traditions with your family so that like the repetition year after year of whatever it is, we make pumpkins or we go to a pumpkin patch or we go to a corn maze. Having the tradition is a really nice family memory and experience and building a relationship with your kid. So.
Yeah, and it seems like those are the things that we've talked about so many times that are like the everlasting thing. Like in our minds as parents, sometimes we think it's about, spending a bunch of money on this or the grand whatever. But sometimes the memories that people have and cherish the most are just every year we would go pick out a pumpkin.
Right, every year we carved a pumpkin.
Yeah.
And then my dad actually let me make fun art in the pumpkin, but that's a different...
Right. Well, and like for me growing up, going to the pumpkin patch was never really a fun thing because, you would go to the pumpkin patch to pick out your pumpkin and so I'm done in 10 minutes. I'm like,
do they not have all the stuff of the modern pumpkin patch?
No, it did not have
now
the hot
pumpkin
chocolate
patch,
and the slides and the games and
the petting zoo
and the petting zoo and all the things that parents go, oh my God, this is going to be so much money.
Yeah.
Which it wasn't that much money. You just went and paid for a pumpkin that you picked out, which I'm like, I could have gotten this at Safeway.
Right. Last year, they even had, where we go to the pumpkin patch, they had cider slushies. Which was actually
try
good.
Anything once, but that sounds weird.
Apple cider slushies. It was actually good. Nice. I loved it.
It's very creative.
Yeah.
And, so I'm all in favor. I never really took my kids to the pumpkin patch because the schools did.
Yeah.
Oh, they had it as
Yeah.
part of like a
so
field
it was
trip
just
or something.
a part of their field trip things, you
Right.
know, and then you have that corn maze thing that you were talking about.
Sounds like you have some opinions about corn mazes, Eric.
I call it the lost maze, or the maze of the lost.
Lost corn.
Yeah, lost corn. I don't do well with puzzles, and guess what that is?
Turns out a maze is a puzzle.
That is a
I think
puzzle.
you just take every left turn and you eventually get out. Isn't that
Or
the
you
rubric?
just go through the middle.
Well, if
True.
you are big enough, you can move the corn. It's true. They frown on that, I hear.
They do. They really do. And so my wife and my son, they would like to do it. They get to do it.
You'd wait outside.
Yeah, I'd go up in the boom box and go, yeah, it's not going to work. Yeah, you can't go that way. Oh, you might want
Wait,
to retrace.
at the maze that you were at, they had like a
boombox thing
an
you could-
aerial like
Yep.
view.
Yep.
That's cool.
That's what I thought. I'm
That's
like,
that would be like half.
Yeah.
Dude, that's half the fun.
right?
Like you go through it, I'll watch.
Right. Or, yeah, I'll watch.
Yeah.
Which way should I go? That way. Oh, it's supposed to go that way. Oh, that way.
Right.
Go the other way.
Well, I mean, I
Yeah.
suppose the interactive version would be like giving people walkie-talkies or something. But what's the fun of that?
It depends.
Depends.
I could have fun with that. Nobody likes to play hot and cold with me because I have my own rules.
Oh my gosh.
And so
Go
and I get
straight.
it.
No, there's only left and right. No, go straight.
Yeah.
Get out of here.
But no, so the corn maze was never something that I really did.
Well, that's just because you didn't like puzzles, not that
Yeah.
you didn't like corn or
No.
festival thingies or
Right. No,
decorations or.
The pumpkin patch thingy had what it has today. Would have been a lot more fun then. I'd have gotten way more into it. So
Yeah.
I totally get why families go, and it can be a part of that enjoyment.
Right. Well, and I suppose the takeaway would be like, if you haven't been to a pumpkin patch since your own childhood, maybe consider going to one because maybe they're different than when you remember.
That's true.
I think one of the ones that I've been to is they make a giant stack of hay bales and then they make a slide going down it
Yep.
using an irrigation tube like they probably have on the farm where they grow all the stuff.
Right.
I heard someone call that style of events agritainment,
There you go.
where it's like you are a farm, but then you use your
yeah.
place to try to
to try to
to do a
entertain.
harvest festival or a
Yep.
whatever, a pumpkin patch. Or a haunted house. Sometimes they have haunted corn mazes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I went to one of those. I think the best part of that haunted corn maze was the semi truck that they pulled into the edge of the corn maze. And so when you're hearing this rumbling, right? And it's the engine of the semi truck,
Yeah.
but you didn't know that. And you go around two corners,
Yeah.
and then the semi truck driver flashes the lights and lays on the horn as you're coming into view of this thing. I thought that was just like a great, and it was probably just a truck they had on the farm. Ah!
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, I gave the guy thumbs up as we went past because I'm like, that was a great idea. And then the rest of the group got chased out by the guy with the chainsaw. But you,
It works.
absolutely.
Yeah, if you like that those are great pieces.
Yeah, that was probably like the right level of haunted house for me because I've
Yeah.
volunteered at haunted houses, but that's the engagement that I want to have is I want to be the guy who knows where everything is and I'm here scaring you. Because if I'm the person
Yeah.
being scared, it just doesn't.
That's why I can't go on roller coasters and I can't go in haunted houses and
For the same reason?
For the same reason.
Are roller coasters scary?
Yeah, my body feels like it's going to fall, so it wants to reach out and grab something to stabilize myself.
Oh, okay.
That means an arm gets left somewhere.
Oh, that's
Not yours.
good.
No, it means it rips it out of the socket if you grab something. when
Oh,
you're
if you
on
grab
the roller
something
coaster.
else, yeah. They usually
yeah.
make things not grabbable, but yeah.
Yeah.
I was just thinking the person next to you got grabbed.
Yeah, that probably wouldn't work well either.
That- them too?
It's just saying, but yeah, the haunted house it becomes
Yeah.
the thing that it's like, yeah, I can't do that. Yeah,
Sure.
that won't work well.
Well, and not everything works for everybody. Josh,
No.
do you go to haunted houses? Did you go to haunted houses?
I did. So when I was a young child, we went on a vacation to Gatlinburg, Tennessee.
Okay.
And I
Nothing
remember
about
it very well because the haunted house we were going to go, I thought it would be cool. I don't know. I was probably like 8 or 9 years old. I thought this is going to be the awesomest thing. It scared me so much. When we left, my dad tried to make a joke that, hey, we'll go back later tonight. And I remember freaking out.
Right, you're
and being
like,
no. And so yeah, but I did go to one recently.
Okay.
And that was actually probably only my third or fourth time to ever be. And
Okay.
yeah, and it was It was fine.
Yeah, my favorite thing to tell people is they're leaving the haunted house. I'm the one acting, right?
Yeah.
Would be, see you at home.
Yeah, that sounds a little...
couple years ago, my son was like, I want to go to haunted house. I want to go to haunted houses. And I'm like, you've never, ever
You've never
gone.
been, so you have no idea.
Right. And he's like, I want to go to the, was it Nightmare Factory?
The Nightmare Factory here in Salem,
Salem.
is the longest running haunted house west of the Mississippi, I think.
Yep. And it's quite scary.
It's good.
Yeah, it's a good one.
It would scare the bejeebies out of me. That's why I only ever act there.
And he's like, have you heard about that? Have you heard about this one? I'm like, not only have I heard about it, but Lucas had a major part in working there for a long time, and it's really scary.
It's very scary.
Are you sure? He goes, oh, I can handle it. I'm like, well, how about, because you said haunted house is there another one you're thinking about? He goes, well, my high school is putting on a haunted house. And how much is that? It's like $5. Let's try that one first and see
training
how you do.
wheels.
Right.
Training
yeah,
wheels.
let's do this. And he goes, okay, no problem. And so he goes into the haunted house. Now, granted, he knows people in the high school who are in there.
And this is like a high school gymnasium
it's a
level.
high school gymnasium level.
Yeah.
Yes. And so he goes through there, and I'm like, okay, we'll just see how this goes.
You're waiting for him at the other end because you're not going through it.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so he comes out, and he is like white as a ghost.
Appropriately enough.
There are two girls who are like walking with him, half giggling, half like, hey, I think you need to make sure he's okay. He can't talk for 5 minutes. And I'm like, what happened? And he goes, I was doing good, and then there was this guy at the end, and he came out of nowhere, and it was really bad, and the girls just started laughing, and I'm like, oh, they have a dude at the end,
A jump scare, yeah.
And the girls are like, it's really not that scary.
It's really not that scary.
He goes, yes, it is. It was terrible. I'll never do a haunted house again. I'm like, well, I guess we're next to head for the Nightmare Factory. And he goes, no, this is going to give me nightmares enough. I'm like, are you sure? I mean, because Lucas said it's really, really good.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, I'm not going. I'm never going. I'm never going. And he hasn't gone. Every year I'll go, hey, you want to go to the Nightmare Factory?
Right, they're
It's
open
on
again.
your list. And he's like, no, I'm never going to that again.
Right. Well, and that proof that like not every tradition is for everybody.
Right.
Halloween might not be your thing. But I mean, like, I don't know, man, an apple cider slushy, even if you're not into Halloween, you might be able to get into that.
Well, my son would love that.
Or pumpkin spice everything.
Right.
Yeah. I've seen the YouTube video challenges where it's like, no, we're going to eat pumpkin spice everything. Oh,
Yeah.
oh.
Yeah, one of my favorite, and sometimes even just letting kids do weird stuff turns out to kind of be a fun memory. But one time I took a large group of middle school kids to a pumpkin patch, and
Because you were a youth pastor, to be
Yes,
clear. This
yes.
wasn't like you just kidnapped a bunch of them.
right. Hey, here we go.
Just to be
Would you
clear.
like to get in?
Come to the pumpkin patch. Yeah. So, and what was funny is
We'll go to the blood bank.
Yes. I remember there was they made a corn sandbox, and this one kid just spent like all of 1 year inside the corn sandbox.
I presume this was like the dried one as opposed to emptying like
yes,
canned
it was the
corn.
dried. It was dried.
I'm picturing
corn.
like canned corn, and I'm like, that's not it.
I get the feeling there might also have been like some rats or mice that lived in there because it was a
One would imagine.
massive thing. But what was
It's
funny?
kind of like the ball pit at McDonald's.
True.
This was just
except probably
We have
worse.
mice and rats that live in the ball pit.
No. I'm just saying there might
Good.
be things in there other than what you expect. That's all.
So
In the ball pit at McDonald's, you might find chewing gum. In the corn
Yeah.
pit, you find rats.
So this 1 year, these two boys.
I was doing fine. You were the one who I don't know where you were going.
Okay, I gotta tell my story.
All right, you got to tell the story.
This 1
No, we
year,
want to hear it.
Okay.
These two boys, like
Yes.
people are doing their stuff and like corn maze and whatever. Well, there was these two, probably like 6th grade guys, and they were just committed to like, we're gonna get the most pumpkins possible, and they got like a huge cart.
That's an
and
odd goal.
They started loading up big pumpkins and all this stuff. Anyways, all I remember was somebody said, "Hey, they need you up at the front," and I went up there. and they had racked up like a $400 bill because they put the stuff on a scale and weigh it.
Sure.
And I
Because
was
it's
like,
by the pound, yeah.
And their problem is, they only have like $5, and so they're needing me to help. And I'm like, no,
I will help you put those back.
Exactly.
That's what I'll
I
help
didn't even go
with.
that far. I said, you guys are gonna have to put those back.
Oh, I'll help
Yeah.
you by giving you directions.
Exactly. I'll tell you what to do. But yeah, but like even things like that are just fun because like for those kids, it was actually mind blowing that they didn't know how. They just think, oh, we'll just come and get the pumpkins, and then
This
we'll
was an
get to take all
educational
this home.
opportunity.
Right. Yeah,
I have $5. I can get whatever I want.
Yeah.
No, you can't.
No, that's not how it works. And your strategy of getting the most and the biggest was actually backfired on you.
Did I tell the story about the kid who was learning the value of money, and he went to the store, and so he has the toy, and like he's like exchanging the money for the toy,
Yeah.
and then he's holding the toy and looking at the cashier and looking at his mom, going, well, but I want my money.
Yeah.
And the mom looks at him, and goes, me too, kid, me too.
Yes.
And the kid's like 5 or 6.
Right. But yeah, so we've made a family tradition out of going to we got our favorite kind of little pumpkin patch.
Nice.
And they have the hayride and all the stuff. And then I think this year we didn't do the pumpkin carving, but after looking at some of the creative things in here, we may do that this year.
Well, and then like you've got a 2-year-old, so like don't hand them the power saw.
True.
Right.
Yeah.
So obviously as appropriate to your age.
Right.
But yeah, we've got all sorts of kinds of things that we can also talk about. What did I do here? Oh, I'm just looking ahead to my notes.
Yeah.
I'm trying to tease like, Erik, you can give step-by-step instructions on how to make a flaming graveyard decoration in your own house.
True.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and sometimes we were talking
First
even
you get
like,
permission.
right. Like, trick-or-treating is obviously a thing, but one of
Right.
my favorite Halloweens was when I don't think I did any trick-or-treating at all. We basically made a stuffed man on the porch, and I had one of those little CB radios as a kid, and we put one in there, and then I was at the window where I could peek through, and then when people would come up, I would pull it out and just talk to them and scare them, and like that for me was like one of my most memorable Halloweens, and that was a fun thing I did with my dad, and was just cool, and also fostered like creativity, because then I was like, well, can we do something again?
Well, because you wanted to like tear apart circuits and wires and stuff, and that was who you were as a kid. So you made your interest and fit it into Halloween.
Yes.
So if your kid likes making art, you can carve pumpkins. If your kid likes circuits, they're not out of the game either.
Right. Yeah, because there's stuff you can do. And then the other thing that I really liked to do was I didn't like to pretend to be things that weren't real, because I always wanted to literally think that I was what it was. And so like my favorite things to pretend would be like I wanted to be like I watched Chips all the time, the
California
Ponch and
Highway
John.
Patrol, is
yeah.
that the
Yeah,
Yep.
and so I loved those guys. So one year I remember I would basically optimize Halloween. It was how I viewed it as a child. I wanted to wear this all year long, so I would come up with, hey, this year I want to be John from Chips, and can we get the pants and the shirt, and can I get a badge and all the stuff? But then it's like I'm going to use that for the whole year, like, and I would.
Can I get the bike too?
Yep, I would literally wear that and get on my bicycle, and then wait for my dad to come home. I could only go 3 houses down from our house, so I would go as far as I could. It felt like hours. I would wait for him to come home, because this was back in the day when they, you call on the phone and say, "Hey, I'm headed home," but there's no cell phone. Who knows what's happening in between? And then, he would show up, and I was, Ponch and John, and I would, and
You're trying to pull him over? Is that what
try to pull him over on the street and give him a ticket. So I always viewed Halloween as another opportunity to get like a costume for the year, to be a firefighter, a police officer.
But a very realistic costume.
Yes. For me, I didn't want to be like Superman or Batman. I wanted to be like real things.
Wanted to be real things that you could also dress up as.
Yes.
There you go. We'll have to come back to some more of this Halloween. No, that's the correct word.
Yeah.
Putting more
Putting more
Halloween.
weed and more fun in Halloween. So there is plenty more where this came from. So definitely check out any of our other episodes on our website at empoweringchoices.community. And then on the next episode of this, we're going to kind of dive into some more fun stuff, some arts and crafts, and just some fun things that you can get prepared for and that you can do to make this a fun time with your family. We'll see you on the next episode.
Put in your comments about your favorite traditions and stuff. Give other people ideas, because we do not have a monopoly on good ideas, I can assure you.
So do it. See ya.